Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the final day of our virtual conference. My name is Mariana, and I'm honored to be your host for today's Asia's first virtual conference, Leaders and Coaches of Asia 2024. For those who might have missed day one and day two of our conference, this is a 3.5 day conference for leaders, CXOs, and coaches. This conference aims to illuminate the latest and most innovative coaching practices that can empower leaders and organizations. We have an exciting lineup of speakers and sessions planned ahead, designed to inspire, inform, and connect us all. Let's dive in and make the most of this incredible opportunity to learn and collaborate. We will be starting our conference with a session on coaching, but before that, I will be playing a short video to help you understand why we need this conference. Just give me a moment while I share the video. Is it audible?
No.
No. Okay. you all enjoyed that video. So as I welcome you all for this incredible journey, I would like to request each of you to participate by using the Q&A box for questions, which will be addressed later. For chat with other participants, to use the chat window, and please ensure that from the drop-down, everyone is selected. Thank you. With no further ado, let's welcome our first speaker for today, Yumiko Shito, who has over 30 years of experience in global business, including 12 years in New York, has gained extensive expertise in leadership and business management. Currently, she works as an executive coach and thinking partner with global organization CXOs. Her mission is to help senior executives accelerate growth and ensure sustainability by clarifying global visions and strategies and transforming their thinking and behavior. She will talk on the topic global leaders and coaching, which will help us understand what is required of coaching in a borderless and increasingly diverse society, the importance of knowing yourself and understanding others, and the concept of leadership, which is changing dramatically in global business. Welcome, Yumiko. The stage is all yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Mariana. All right, let me share the screen first. Hey, hi. Hello, everyone. I'm Yumiko Shito. People call me Yumi. It's like you and me. It's a great honor for me to be speaking today at this Leaders and Coaches of Asia 2024 conference, a gathering of diversity and different cultures. I'm currently based in Tokyo and partially in New York. And as Mariana already mentioned, I provide the executive coaching and advisory services to CXOs in the global organizations from the perspective of organizational transformation and executive education. So what is required of coaching in a borderless and diverse society? Today, I'd like to talk about 4 things. First, importance of knowing yourself, which is required in a global and diverse environment. And second, the concept of leadership, which has been significantly evolving on the global stage in recent years. I'd like to share a recent leadership model proposed by a business school that emphasizes the being of the leaders rather than what to do or how to do the business. Third, the idea that mind creates reality. Your passion shapes reality. Fourth, the essence of global leaders and the role of executive coaches. So I will discuss 4 topics with some exercises. First, let's talk about the topic of knowing yourself. I used to live in New York City for 12 years and still back and forth between New York and Tokyo. New York is an overwhelming collection of diversity and where multiple cultures coexist. Today, over 200 languages are spoken in New York City. According to the survey, Census Bureau last year, 51% of New York City residents speak English at home, and 49% speak other languages. About half of the population lives using languages other than English. When I was living in the city, I saw a very striking and impressive advertisement. It said, minority means nothing in New York. It means being a minority means nothing special in New York. It is like, I'm a minority, so what? So in the global and diverse environment, you are confronted with the question of who you are. When I moved to New York, I realized that I was just another Asian person. For the people living in New York, it doesn't matter what nationality you are. People engage with you by asking who you are. So, how would you respond if someone asks you, who are you? In Japan, people's name consists of family name and given name, last name and first name. It is interesting, and you might know that many people in Japan have a strong sense of belonging. So they often introduce themselves by their family names. This may be a characteristics of East Asia, probably not just Japan. In addition, here is a typical pattern of self-introduction of Japanese people when someone asks them, who are you? They will say, oh, my name is such and such, family name. I work at the ABC Corporation and I'm responsible for the sales division, something like this. If it happens in New York, the person who asks a question might say, oh, what you said describes what kind of work you do, but it doesn't answer the question of who you are. In the environment where diversity and being different is the norm, it is very difficult to make yourself understood. For example, you know a phrase which is reading between lines. This means you should be able to sense the true meaning and emotions, not directly expressed in words or text. However, in a diverse environment where many values coexist, this concept doesn't work. You cannot sense or understand someone's feeling. You have to ask them, they say. Who am I? Conveying who you are is very important first step in building a good relationship. So let's do an exercise and try to verbalize who you are, which you may not be paying attention much in your daily life. So I cannot see any of your faces, but I'm assuming it's okay to do this exercise. All right, so let's do the knowing yourself exercise. I'm going to ask you 3 questions. Then please answer or write down 3 responses to each question. So probably you have 5 minutes to write down. So 3 questions and 3 responses to each questions. Are you ready? The first question, what do you like about yourself? What do you like about yourself? It is not, I like this or that. It should be favorite things about yourself. Second question, what are your strengths? What are you good at? What are you good at? And third question is, how are you praised by people? How do people praise you? So these are very simple questions. So please write 3 answers to each question. So let me give you 5 minutes. So why don't we start now?
Yumiko, would you like us to read what is shared in the chat because people are responding in the chat?
Oh, okay, please.
Okay, so Devadeep says sincerity. I suggest that as they are, typing their responses, we can just read on because they would only be able to, share in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, and Devdeep, please use everyone for your responses, and all the participants, please use everyone when you're using the webinar chat, because
Mhm.
otherwise responses go to host and panelists only.
Yeah, you can use the chat windows at the same time. You don't need to share with your responses with the other people if you don't want to. You can keep it.
Are you able to read the responses, Yumiko, in the chat?
No, I cannot read it. Oh, there is
Okay.
a moment.
I'll
Okay.
read it for you. So Kaveri says resilience, courage, and beginner's mind is what she likes about herself. And Amrender says patience, organized, and empathetic.
Okay.
These are some of the responses which are coming in.
Mhm. All right. Oh, thank you. Now I can read it. Thank you,
Okay.
Mariana. Yeah, I open it up. Mm. Thank you for your responses. Yes. Sincerity, resilience, balancing emotion with facts, people
If
focused.
anyone wants to, speak, then you can raise your hand and we can unmute you if you want to do that. Otherwise, of course, you can share in the chat.
Mm. That's great. Listening, communicating, honesty, dedication, loyalty. Thank you so much for sharing your responses. Mm. Well, Kaberi, you raised your hand.
Hi, Yumi. Sorry, just wanted to shed a little bit light and discuss on the third question. And it
Mhm.
says, how are you praised by people? Could you
Mhm.
just explain it a little bit more so that I could prepare my answer accordingly?
Okay,
What
sure.
response? What are the likely responses? Thank you.
Mhm. So what kind of words people give you as a compliment?
Right. Thank you
What
so
I-
much.
Mhm. Is that clear for you? Okay, it's 5 minutes now, and probably you might be still working on it. Maybe you can finish later. So 3 responses to each questions, 3 questions. So as you might, okay, all right, let me go on. And as you may have figured out, what you like about yourself connects what you value. It relates to what you value. What are you good at? Is a verbalization of your strengths and the elements that give you confidence. it relates to your self-confidence. The words of praise, it's a kind of a tricky one. The words of praise might not actually be praises, but they are the words you perceive as a compliment. So these reflect the value you cherish, the ones you feel happy being recognized for. So it relates to how you want to be recognized for. So maybe you can finish your, answer later. And then if you don't mind, so how was this exercise? And if you don't mind, could you please write your insights or your comments in the chat window? Probably, we can take 1 minute or 2 minutes or so. So how did you find this exercise? Any comments or insight from this exercise? Could you please give us a comment in the chat windows? It's good. I know a lot more about myself. Give a new insight and perspective. Allows you to reflect and become aware. Take a look about who I am. That's good. Okay. Thank you so much for your comments. And let me go on to the next theme. Okay, the second topic concerns the evolving concept of the leadership in today's global context. There has been a noticeable shift from focusing solely on methods to emphasizing the essence of leadership, which is being. Leadership involves not only achieving results in business and taking responsibility for the outcomes, but also increasingly how leaders embody leadership qualities. So I'd like to touch on the concept advocated by IMD. It stands for Institute for Management Development, one of the world's leading business schools located in Switzerland. The concept is called secure-based leadership. This concept promotes creating an environment where limits can be surpassed through care to dare, meaning fostering an atmosphere where individuals can exceed boundaries through compassion and challenge. It defines a global leader as someone who provides a sense of security and reassurance, demonstrating care while also being a source of motivation and energy to tackle challenges and seek new opportunities. Look at these 9 characteristics of secure-based leadership. It says the leader is someone who stays calm, accepts the individual, accept people as they are, sees the potential, identify potential, uses listening and inquiry, listen actively and ask powerful questions, delivers a powerful message, communicate powerful message, focuses on the positive, focus on the positive aspect, encourages risk taking, encourage taking risks, inspire through intrinsic motivation, And signals accessibility means being approachable. Leaders ensure psychological safety and promote growth based on trust. Don't you think these 9 characteristics have many elements of coaching? In Western leadership theories, for many years, the focus has been on improving process to achieve result efficiently. Additionally, a top-down directive approach, often enforced through fear, has been regarded as an ideal leadership style. This has also been considered the proper model for the organizational management, and there was even a term for it, military-style leadership. Some of you probably remember this term. How do you find these 9 recent characteristics of leadership? The notion that the best approach is a rational system to increase productivity is now shifting towards a system that enhances human qualities and mindsets. This emphasis is moving from pressuring people to act to creating environment where people are motivated by compassion. We often refer counting people as head count, but now there is a new term, heart count, reflecting a focus of the number of hearts rather than heads. This shift can be seen as a change within Western organization and business cultures, which have a long prioritized process aimed at the results and outcomes over motivation. And it can be said that coaching elements are becoming increasingly incorporated into this change. Moreover, it appears that this transformation is heavily influenced by Eastern philosophies originated in Asia. Instead of solely pursuing rational methods, the emphasis increasingly on the way of being as a person and as a leader. Okay, the third topic is about mind creates reality. Your passion shapes reality. So let me share a little bit of my own experience, if you don't mind. When I was younger, much younger, I wanted to work in the global business environment. And if I was going to do so, I always wanted to work in the place where the best of the world gather. So I moved to New York by myself when I was 25 years old, long time ago. At that time, I didn't have any friends in New York. I had no money. My English was not sufficient, and I didn't even have a work visa. However, my passion to work in New York far exceeded any fears I had about moving. Working and living in an unknown culture can be a mixture of excitement and anxiety. But with passion, you can take on challenges. It can be tough, but it doesn't have to be painful. So I believe that the words you give yourself are crucial. Depending upon those words, they can become either positive or negative motivation. Positive motivation is about the excitement and anticipation of your favorite future. It involves the action that leads to the expectation that, oh, if I do this, I will be able to achieve that. This type of motivation is enjoyable and sustainable. On the other hand, negative motivation is driven by fear and anxiety based on the idea that, oh, if I don't do this, I won't be able to achieve that. While this might generate short-term focus and immediate results, it eventually becomes exhausting and unsustainable. The way you perceive things and the words you use reveal your worldview and affect your influence on others. So what is more important is deciding to do something, making a firm decision, rather than questioning whether you can do it or not. The question of whether you can do something that assumes you are staying within your comfort zone. When you make serious commitment, it might require letting go of something or enduring significant emotional pain. However, once you make that commitment, path seems to open up before you and doors start to unlock. I'm sure that many of you here have this kind of experience in your business and the personal life. So let me go back to my story, my personal story. I mean, moving to New York. Despite starting with nothing, I gradually made friends and connections, and I got a job and started earning income. I was able to make a living, and my English improved out of necessity to the level where I could work. And as for the work visa, which I thought it was beyond my control, I even managed to obtain the permanent residency called green card. At that time, there was a government policy of granting permanent residency based on quotas for each country. So I applied for it and I was selected. The chance of the being selected were 1 in 1,000 that time. Isn't it amazing? So this happened in the second year after I moved. This experience reinforced the idea that mind creates reality. Your passion and commitment create opportunity and opens path. So now I like to do another exercise, simple exercise on the theme of mind creates reality. Your passion shapes reality. So could you please have a piece of paper and a pen? It's better be an actual paper or memo pad because I'm going to ask you later to place it somewhere you can always see it. Can you prepare a piece of, can you have a piece of paper? Okay. What we are going to do is very, very simple. Please write down 5 specific things you want to achieve in the next 6 months. 5 specific things you want to achieve in the next 6 months. So why don't we take 5 minutes and then you can write down the 5 specific things you want to achieve in the next 6 months. So let's start now. So let me count the 5 minutes from here. Okay, Lucas. Yeah, you can share your five specific things here. And of course, you can, you don't need to share it, and you can share it whichever you like. Oh, thank you, Lucas. New phone. Okay. Yeah, now make it happen. Yes. Mm. Open to new ideas, being assertive, learn how to make. Oh, okay. Want to lay boundaries, continue learning. Yeah. All right. It's 5 minutes now. Thank you all so much for sharing your five specific things. All right. So please place the paper somewhere you can always see it. Probably the door of the fridge or on your computer or wherever you can always see it. By seeing the paper every day, your conscious mind will become attuned and you will start notice the information, opportunities, and people, and probably many others that necessary to make those things reality. The strength of your will, the intensity of your awareness, and action based on passion and willingness to challenge, those create reality. The words you give yourself change your world. With commitment and belief in yourself, please enjoy this experiment for next 6 months. So again, how did you find this exercise? If it's okay for you, could you please write your insights from this exercise or any comments in the chat windows? Explore your short-term, long-term goals. Focus on priorities. Oh, Kaveri?
Hi, Yumiko.
Hi.
Kaveri once again. This is a little bit of a question that I came across this idea and I read it somewhere before that according to in psychology, they say that once you end up there is an ideal, there's a wish that you want to fulfill in the near future, and you end up, of course, that crops up in your mind, and but somehow you end up discussing it, you perceive it half done. So now you're not motivated enough to do it furthermore. Like you feel that it is done. Would you like to elaborate or shed light a little bit on that? So should we once acknowledge our wishes and then eventually end up discussing it also with others? Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah,
I hope
it's good
wishing.
things. Yeah, it's
Thank
about
you.
the consciousness.
Right.
So things within the unconscious area that moves to the conscious area. So you will notice any information, it might be related to the things you wanted to achieve or you wanted to make it happen. So psychologically, if it happens, and your conscious will change.
Interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your question. All right, so may I move to the last part?
Hello.
Lucas, yes?
If I may add, if we didn't have people discussing their ideas, we couldn't be coaches. Like that's the main reason for being a coach, listening to someone who has an idea, who doesn't know how to continue with that idea. Maybe
right.
they need to find motivation, they need to find their own ways, and we are there for them. So it's kind of hard if we don't let them discuss that idea with us, or the people isn't open to that idea, to that process.
Yeah, thank you for your comments. Yes. And then it might relate to what we are going to do, what we are going to discuss next. That's part of the role of the coaches. It might be related to that. Thank you, Lucas. All right. Earlier, I mentioned recent trends of global leadership. The fourth topic is the way of being of global leaders and executive coaches. I'd like to emphasize that there are many outstanding leaders and executives. With that being said, I believe that the leaders and executives need to undergo a further paradigm shift. People generally see and hear things the way they want to, and then internalize them accordingly. We perceive things through our unique filters, shaped by our life experiences. For leaders and executives, it is particularly important to learn how to let go of these filters, sometimes called bias, and to relinquish their own preconceptions. There is a phrase you might have heard it before: prisoner of success. It means that successful people in business often become so attached to the method that brought them success, and then they cannot break free from them. Even when the external environment changes, they are unable to let go of their successful ways, and they cannot accept new values. What worked before may not be effective anymore and moving forward. It is important to have the awareness to question their own method all the time. In order for the leaders to do so, they need to develop the power of attentive listening. The power of listening is listen for, not listen to, or even hear. The power of listening can also be described as the ability of acceptance. Many people, while conversing, are already thinking about what they will say next, which means they stop listening the moment they start thinking about what their response is. This often happens because they believe that, oh, I'm right. Oh, I know better than you do. This process begins when they reject or dismiss the other person's opinion. In such situations, the other person can quickly tell that their words are not being heard. Listening to people requires patience, setting aside your own filters, and you need to listen until the end. It helps you to develop your capability or capacity of acceptance. There is a saying, speaking is a skill. Listening is a strength or caliber of the person. I think this is very accurate expression. In other words, listening is nothing but having empathy to the other person. It is said that when people feel they are being listened, they open not only their ears and mouth, but also their heart. This also becomes the important step in building trust. Moreover, this is the very essence of being a coach. As a coach, it would be wonderful to create a space where leaders can experience a paradigm shift and broaden their horizons. To achieve this, executive coaches need to understand and articulate the thinking pattern of their client leaders, and sometimes even challenge them. And what is more important aspect, as I said earlier, is empathy and the ability to support them. For example, a CEO's single decision can significantly impact a company and affect the lives of thousands or even tens of thousands of employees. It also creates a substantial influence on society. In the case of multinational companies, the role of CEO also entails the responsibility of representing their home country. Having continually make such decisions brings immense pressure and fear. Even with all the information available, the final decision must be made by the CEO themselves. Making these decisions requires considerable amount of determination. Of course, it's not just CEO. Anyone may feel fear and tension when facing important decisions. However, the pressure on leaders who carry the weight of their company is very, very high. I have been seeing these scenes very often. Therefore, I constantly consider how best to support these leaders who continually face fears, tensions, and pressure in making decisions and envisioning possibilities that might lie ahead. While it is CEO's responsibility to make final decisions, I believe that as a coach, my role is to give them a little push towards making those decisions. In coaching sessions, topics usually start with the business-related subjects, such as business strategy, executive presence, and so on. However, we often end up with the topics about their life, such as clarifying their life vision and their way of being, touching on much broader life themes. They are leaders and executives, but at the same time, they are human beings. Earlier, I mentioned that many people listen to others while thinking about what they will say next. This can also happen in coaching sessions where coaches might be tempted to think about the next questions while listening. The important thing is not to listen while thinking about the next question, but to listen with complete empathy. It is about understanding what is really happening now and what words are wanting to be expressed by using ability of listening for and acceptance. By doing so, the next question will naturally emerge. By the way, one of the most gratifying pieces of feedback that I receive from my clients is, "You understand me better than I understand myself." And I feel that I love my job. Also, let me touch on a little bit about the practical setup. There are various essential qualities for the executive coaches. The ability to listen actively and ask powerful questions, which you can refer the core competencies defined by the ICF. And the professional mindset and associated ethical standards are also crucial. And the ICF Code of Ethics can be a helpful reference. Also, a certain level of business knowledge is necessary, of course, but it's also important to understand the client's company and industry as well. Prior preparation and study are required. The expert level knowledge is not necessary, but it is important to have a grasp of the basic business terminology as a common language. And above all things we discussed, the most important thing is to build a trusting relationship with the client. To achieve this, it is vital for a coach to maintain a constant awareness of self-growth, both as a coach and as a person as well. And there is no need to compare yourself to others. You can compare yourself to who you were yesterday and strive to be a better version of yourself today. Lastly, I always think about what we can do to make the world, our planet, a better place. Environment issues, security, and various other social issues are often discussed. I believe that in order to make the earth to become a better place, all of us, each individual, must undergo a transformation of consciousness. This transformation involves moving from the actions based on fear, anxiety, anger, and resentment to actions based on empathy, acceptance, and love. I hope to contribute to this transformation through coaching. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us and listening to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for having me tonight. Okay, let me hand it over to Mariana.
Thank you so much, Himiko, for the great session today. It was such a pleasure listening to you speak and share your experiences. It truly was insightful.
Thank you.
Do we have time for questions?
We have a couple of minutes, Haryana. We have around 3-4 minutes. If you want to share something, the participants want to share something or ask Yumiko something, maybe we could utilize that time.
Yes. So the audience can ask questions in the questions tab or request to speak and unmute themselves.
Hi, good evening, Yumiko. This is evening in India, and I'd definitely like to ask you something based on your experiences in New York. I know it is a vibrant city full of creative people, and when you're in that sort of landscape, when you apply creativity to any coaching sessions, can you share any experience where you had to be more creative than your usual self and come up with, something where creativity really helped you to become better or to coach better? If there was any, such, yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for your question. Yes, creativity, that I'm not sure, but what I was trying to do is, it's like, I love this person in the world at this moment. That's what I'm always feeling when I'm doing the coaching session. It doesn't really matter where it is, where it is. It might be New York and Tokyo or wherever. The backgrounds are all different, but they are a person. So I'm trying to be neutral and try to understand who they are as a person. That's what I was doing, and that's what I'm doing now too.
Thank
Did
you.
I
Thank you so much.
answer your question? Okay.
Haryana, maybe you can invite Prasanna and move on.
Yeah, I guess only 1 minute left to the next session, I guess.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you once again.
Thank you. So our next session topic is emotional intelligence in leadership. I would request you all to stay on the same webinar for the next session. I would also like to request each of you to participate by using the Q&A box for questions, which will be addressed later. For chat with other participants, to use the chat window, and please ensure to use the drop-down everyone while selecting. Thank you.